Pro wrestling talk from the four corners of parts unknown. This is That Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to That Wrestling Podcast. Fresh off the All Out weekend. Hit the music.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
It's the weekly fashion check-in of 440-year-old men and what wrestling shirts they're wearing. I'll go first this week. I went with the new face of fear, an old Bray Wyatt shirt. I was digging through the closet today, and I'm like, I haven't worn this one yet in 24 weeks of programs. So I have the Bray Wyatt new face of fear. Brian, what are you wearing?
Well, I hope this one counts. I think it does. But since the NFL season kicked off tonight, I put my own little spin on it as I'm wearing the, as a time of recording. So I'm wearing the original XFL, of course, WWF back in the day. That was Vince McMahon's creation and all that. So I figured there's a good little tie-in. So hopefully you guys will allow it while it's not a true wrestling shirt.
And that is the original one, right? Because there was a point where there was a period of time where that shirt went missing.
Yes.
For like 10 years, right?
No, it wasn't that long. It was always in my rotation. Yeah, I probably got it in 2000 or 2001 at this little shop at Penn State. And then when the reboot happened, 2 years ago now, I went hunting for it. I could not find it. I was convinced that my wife had thrown it away, that she was like, this rag, you don't want this. And I was so pissed. And then one day, you just look in your drawer for the 10th time and there it was. And I was like, son of a bitch.
And what was fun about that time, we would all just text Brian links to the new XFL store. It's like, get your shirts, get
the new one.
All right, Kevin, what do you got this week?
I running out of apparel that I bought on SummerSlam weekend. So, but I wanted to keep the trend going. So I wore what I wore to SummerSlam night. I'm wearing an Homage shirt. I'm wearing the Nasty Boys. It's so good. It got me. I think I got 2 compliments at SummerSlam. 2 compliments. Nowhere near your WrestleFest amount of compliments.
Nope.
But as with Homage, oh my gosh, the softest, most comfortable shirts, and it doesn't smell like armpits. So
no pity city here.
No
for
pity
Kevin's.
city. Joe.
Yeah, the WrestleFest shirt gets the most love anywhere.
Awesome.
I mean, whether I'm at a wrestling event, the gas station, I actually wore it on the first Jericho cruise, and I met this dude who we were talking to now. 3 years later, we're still good friends. What's up, John? If you're listening, Joe, bring it home. What do you got this week?
Well, considering I just finished up a bunch of Zoom meetings, I'm honoring Hangman Adam Page with the has been drinking shirt, and cheers.
Nice. Very nice.
Awesome.
I'm not kidding. I've been Zooming all day, so I definitely am enjoying this Zoom compared to the other boring ones.
Well, it's early. All right. So here's the deal. If you've been following us on social media or you listened last week, we all were together for the first time in almost 2 years. And we are going to get into All Out. But first, Brian, you had some health issues. Are you okay? Like, this is legit serious if you're listening. We're not being dicks. Brian spent 2 days in a local medical facility. Are you okay?
Yeah. We're back at it. I was discharged about 6 hours before time of recording back here in my lovely Christie Land Ranch back home. But yeah, feeling good. And I can share with the listeners that, I had an infection in my ankle. You ever have an itch that you just can't stop scratching? Lesson learned, kids. Make sure you wash your hands before you do it, because if you got some dirty nails, maybe that's what causes the infection. That's a theory that the doctors have. So
and as we get into the weekend, we will talk about. But this is how it sums up. Brian's ankle looked like a watermelon with some tater tots on the bottom. That's how swollen it was. His ankle, foot, and toe. But we will get into that as we go. But before we get into our weekend together, let's talk about anything else non-AEW related. Brian, we'll go back to you. The big news broke earlier yesterday. Gable Steveson, what do you got?
Yeah, he's been the media darling the last couple of weeks since he won the Olympic gold medal in heavyweight wrestling. Well, what's his next move going to be? Is he going to go back to Minnesota? Maybe try UFC, maybe try WWE, even the NFL. He's saying, I'm entertaining it. Well, the pen is to paper, and really interesting. He is signed with WWE. It's absolutely official. They had a huge press release about it, saying how, from Triple H and from various members of the WWE family saying that they're so happy to have him on board. But what's the really interesting part about it is because of the name, image, and likeness agreement that started in college athletics just a few short months ago.
Oh, that's what NIL means. That's what NIL means.
Yes, NIL.
I had no idea till right now. Okay.
Name, image, likeness. Yeah.
Okay,
because of that, he's actually going back to Minnesota to wrestle for his senior year. So that's like unheard of, that he basically has his professional job already lined up, signed, sealed, and he'll have some sort of, they're talking about like he'll be doing appearances and promotional work for WWE while he's still in school and still going to be on the wrestling team looking to defend his NCAA heavyweight championship crown, if you will. So really interesting. I'm excited. The Twitter was abuzz. His brother officially joined NXT, I think like 2-3 weeks ago. So he was on Twitter, like saying that, they're going to be the new Steiner brothers, in tag teams. So
nice.
We'll see. It's all down the road stuff, but yeah, he made his choice, and I can't wait to see where he goes. Hopefully to WrestleMania 40 in that 5 count a couple weeks ago, where I said he's going to be on the card.
That's what Brian's biggest thing is, like, oh my God, I'm one step closer. If we're still doing this podcast in 3 years, even if we're not doing this podcast in 3 years, I'm lighting these guys up with text. Like, I'm right.
That's right.
That is pretty cool, though. I mean, new world for college athletes, and it's good. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm curious if there's going to be any kind of like, he's going to train at WWE while in college, or if that's not allowed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you figure if he goes and wins an NCAA title this year, they're going to want him on TV ASAP. You know what I mean? So,
and you said it right. Actually, I'm trying to find the exact note. Yeah. Listen to this, Jay. It says, this name, image, and likeness deal with WWE allows him to attend Minnesota for his senior year, defend his championship, and WWE will set up a remote training facility for Steveson near campus, where he'll learn the finer points of in-ring work with WWE coaches. So I guess that's where he's going to be spending his off time in some little, performance center in Minneapolis, I guess.
And then
cool.
There's going to be like a party on a weekend, like him and his bros, and they're going to be drunk. Like, let's go to the ring. Let's go to the training center. I got a key. Me and Brock. Yeah.
Right. So they've rolled out the red carpet for this guy clearly, and I totally get it. He's name dropping. Hey, I could be like Kurt Angle, gold medalist, Brock Lesnar. So the sky's clearly the limit. It's a big shoes to fill, though. We'll see.
And then another quick thing: Triple H had a heart procedure yesterday, or 2 days ago, and what's crazy is, he is, professional wrestler. But motherfucker, you assholes on Twitter, I'm looking right at you. I'm looking right into the barrel of this camera. No need for the shitty comments. Vince broke his heart and he had to have surgery. AEW had a great week and it hurt. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Guy's a dad. He's a human being. He's a husband. Go fuck off if you're trying to make those jokes, because that shit's not funny. But he is okay. He's on the mend. Obviously, I don't think we'll be seeing him on TV anytime soon, but that shit doesn't matter at this point. So I was pretty surprised to see that, because a guy like him, you think tip-top shape his whole life. So I guess you never know, what's going on. So get checked if you're any kind of heart issue. So,
but he said he was genetic.
Yeah.
They did say that. Yeah. That's true. Right.
Okay.
Genetic defect.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully everything is on the mend and, good to go. Does anybody have anything non-AEW related, or should we just get into the weekend?
I think we get into it.
Yeah.
weekend?
Drake Maverick returned to the 24/7.
Oh,
picture on
that's
Monday
true.
Night
The
Raw.
biggest return of
Headline.
the weekend. Yes.
The
Headline.
biggest return of the I would say the biggest return of the entire weekend.
Clearly.
Drake
Wow.
Maverick is
Okay.
back on the 24/7 hunt.
I popped. I won't lie. I did go.
I laughed.
Drake!
I laughed. And our truth's response to it was like, "It's good to see you, but I gotta get my baby back."
Yeah.
Boom. It was a stupid segment, but Drake looks serious. I'm happy for him.
Shenanigans will ensue.
But that's really the only highlight that was not AEW related.
Well, I know the New Day did pretty well. They had about an hour 40 of ring time on Monday, which is crazy. They had a good match against one of my favorites, the Viking Raiders. So we're going to move on to AEW All Out Weekend. Now, I don't know if you know, but this was the first time the four of us had been in the same place in about a year and a half. And we all went to Brian's house in parts unknown, Midwest, parts unknown. And so what's crazy is on Sunday, I was about 15 minutes late, but I was still the first one there, which is crazy. Kevin and Joe were late, but the weekend started with a photo shoot. If you go to our social media, you'll see we all have new pretty profile pictures in front of a brick wall. Looks kind of like a senior picture, but, much cooler. And then we went to a local brewery. Brian, what was the name of that brewery again?
It was Baffin Brewery. Baffin. Baffin.
And the selling point was that it was the only one open. And but really the real selling point was that they had a drink that it was called Macho Man Shandy Savage. And it was like, all right, that makes sense. And then we ended up realizing all the other breweries in town were closed. So that's where we went. For about an hour and a half, drank some beers, hung out. Saw a dude in a Tony Storm shirt. Kevin, do you remember me telling you that? That guy at the bar, he had like Tony Storm shirt. Dude. Yeah, by himself, who was in the mug club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got educated in brewery mug clubs. Kevin, can you give like a Cliff Notes version if people don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I can't remember if it was 150 or 500 they had to drink, but you sign up, they keep a tally of how many pints of beer you drink, and at the end you are accepted into the mug club. I think it was 150. So basically with Baffin, then they, your mug that you choose, there's like 6 or 8 colors. It hangs from the rafters. So when you go in, you're like, hey, mug 473. They bring it down. I saw the servers.
Okay.
He had like a pole.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a hook with the claw thingy, like you're picking up trash on the side of the road. And she picked one up or picked the person's down, and she went right to the bar and proceeded to fill it up. It was pretty cool. And there's a lot of people drinking out of them. So that nice loyalty to Baffin Brewing.
And there was those are personally decorated, right? Like I thought I saw like drawings and shit on the bottom.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're ceramic mug. They have like mug clubs mostly at most breweries. Then I saw a lot of it was pretty cool, like painted on the bottom, like unique. Cool.
And the three of you are all pretty like big craft beer guys. Are you guys in any of these mug clubs or anything like that?
Mm-mm. I am not.
We should start one.
I don't frequent it quite as much as I would like, but the whole wife and kids thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe we
They're
start
such
our
a drag. I mean, I love my family.
It's probably why there's a lot of
she's not listening.
Yeah,
true. Very true.
It's probably why that guy with the Tony Storm shirt was a single guy.
That stands to reason. Yeah.
And then I actually got some love. I had an old school Dudley Boys shirt on. Go to social media at thatwrestlepod. You can see the picture of us. A dude was like, "Hey man, that's a cool shirt," which I don't expect it, from too many people because I really didn't expect there to be a lot of wrestling fans there. I mean, we were the 4 idiots that all had wrestling shirts on walking in. Surprised to see the Tony Storm guy, but Brian said something on Twitter after our show went public last week, and I'm so pissed he didn't say it on the show because it was probably one of the funnier things he has said in a while. What did you call the weekend? What did you say on Twitter?
So when I knew that the weather was going to be good, I can do a nice setup in my backyard where I got the TV, and we have our lounge patio chairs, and we could do a fire pit and just make a cool, nice scene here in my part of Parts Unknown. We don't get the best of weather year round like some of us on the show do. So when it became apparent, I said, let's do this. We'll be outside. And I decided to petition Tony Khan to rename the show All Outside. And that's how what the end of the night turned out to be. Yes.
And if that is why the title of this week's podcast is All Outside. Now, Brian, you're a big barbecue chef. You love to cook. What'd you make? What was on the menu?
We smoked a 7-pound pork butt to do pulled pork sandwiches. I hobbled my bum ass ankle out of 6 a.m. to fire up the smoker, but we got it going, and I think I pulled it out. I pulled out my pork. Yes, I did at like 5:30 in the afternoon after we got back from the brewery. So about what's that, 11 hours smoking or so, 12 hours smoking.
Yeah.
How big was that pork that you pulled out?
7 pounds. It was a beast. It was a beast.
It was, as you would say, glorious. And
yes. Yeah, it was good. I think after the fact, actually, I looked at it some more and I was like, ooh, maybe I overcooked it a little, but it is what it is. It hit the spot for the night. And then also because Mr. Kevin on this show, he's anti-pulled pork for whatever reason. I don't know. But we did some wings for him.
They're delicious.
And they were, Kev, you're right. I had some of the leftovers and those were the best like smoke flavor of wings that I've done so far. I was like, oh god damn, these
whatever
are not great.
chips you used, the seasoning was good, right?
Yeah,
but the smokiness on the meat was amazing. It was
I was like, ooh, okay, that delivered. So
Joe and I can't comment on this because neither one of us were able to have it. So
no, we didn't have any of the chicken wings. We just ate plenty of the pulled pork sandwiches.
You guys did seconds. So that's
and your wife's cookies. They were awesome.
Oh yes. My wife decided to wake up early Sunday morning and say, I'm going to bake cookies for everyone because I don't want to be the only one of the wives not to donate something. And she was basically the only wife.
They did donate something.
But she was like, what if someone doesn't? And it's just not polite to go to someone's house without bringing something. And I'm like, but it's just us guys watching wrestling. Yeah. She didn't care. She woke up early, baked all morning. So when Kevin came over, he opened the door and it's just basically the smell of fresh baked cookies inside the house, which is not normally like that. But when I tried them before I hit the road, I'm like, I don't think they deserve these. They're too good. I wanted to keep them all, and they're gone.
How many did everyone eat?
I think I had about 4 throughout the day.
I had 5.
I had 2 in the last 10 minutes of the paper.
There was a run on them at the end of the night where I was
like I need something to snack.
Give me 2 of those.
Yeah.
I think you had 2, but one of them was the giant chocolate chip one that was dipped in chocolate. So
half dipped,
Yeah, the half dip one, those take up a lot of calories.
So, of course, leading up to the pay-per-view, the big story was Paul White and QT Marshall. It was the most anticipated match of the evening. Last week, Brian proclaimed that he didn't care. I proclaimed that was going to be I go put my sweatpants on. And that was exactly what happened. But no, of course, I'm kidding. It was the in-ring debut of CM Punk against Darby Allin. Who wants to talk about it?
I guess I'll go first. I think Darby did great. Darby was the right opponent. CM Punk was for being. How long was it? Did they mention how long he was out? 7 years, was it?
Yeah.
I think it was 7.
Once or twice. Yeah.
Once or twice. I mean, he looked like he had some ring rust, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been for someone who's been gone that long. I mean, let's remember, like Shawn Michaels was gone for 4 years and came back and looked as good. So being gone for 7 years, not being training for wrestling, he had the right opponent. Darby did a lot of the work, but he held his own. I thought it was a good showing by both guys, but mostly Darby.
The long pants were a new look. A lot of people thought that maybe that was the homage to Terry Funk in ECW. Potentially a Bret Hart had his WCW run not go the way that it did, he potentially would have been the long tights guy. Because Bret is such a hero to Punk. A lot of people thought maybe Punk would have like the singlet top under the with the pants, but I thought it was a weird look for him. But if that's new CM Punk, let's get a new look. The new merch and the figures will be out soon enough. So then the match, I think we were all correct when we said that the match of the night was going to be the Lucha Bros against the Young Bucks. Brian, what'd you think of that match?
Well, it delivered on all aspects of it. Again, in full transparency with my bum ankle, I know I missed maybe the first third of it. And when I came back, Joe informed me that there was a whole lot of rest holds. So, I mean, that is what it is. But no, it had emotion. It had insane spots. The crowd was completely invested in it. And it was the right call. I think it was time to move the belts onto the Lucha Brothers. And I mean, yeah, it was a 5-star classic. I think everybody online has been saying that, and you'll hear no arguments from me.
And then Kevin, you had never seen the Young Bucks PWG tag match against Joey Ryan and Candice when Candice took the super kicks with the tacks in the face. You've never seen that match, right? So seeing that spot in that match, what were your thoughts? I mean,
when the bag was thrown over the cage and it was caught, I didn't know what was in the bag, right? Opened it up and I saw the Nike kick with 200 thumbtacks on the bottom. I'm like, no. So Jackson puts it on and I'm just like, my mind's now going of like, oh shit, he's going to super kick, people's faces with that thing. And Penta's there, takes one, instantly kind of bloody. Ray takes him, Penta more, like it's back and forth. And Brian brought up a good point, like right at the beginning, right? 5-star match. The first time I ever saw the Bucks was when we were all together, right? One of the first times in Chicago. That was an amazing match versus Hangman and Omega. And then we see them against Ray and Penta. And it was absolutely amazing. Like I love to say that 2 of my all-time favorite tag matches were the Young Bucks. And I knew of them, right? But I didn't know that much of them before AEW, except that they just were one of the best tag teams without seeing them much. Now it's just like, I want more. They don't need the belts, right?
Nope.
But the match and the super kicks with the tacks in it, I have to go back and try to rewatch it because I feel like live, it felt like it was like 30 minutes long. It felt like it went on forever. And usually when you say that, that's a negative thing, but it felt like it went on so long and it was perfect. It was an absolutely perfect match.
Which match was better? Hangman and Kenny or the Lucha Bros? So you got to pick one.
I would pick. I thought you were going to say the CM Punk Darby match. I would pick
past that.
Just for the fact where it made me kind of cringe a little bit. I would say that cage match. That cage match was perfect in my eyes. Absolutely perfect.
I'll say the other one because I was there live. I think Kenny and Hangman because we were there. So then another match that took place that I thought was a fun build was Miro and Eddie Kingston. It led off the pay-per-view. And, Miro's the Redeemer. And then Eddie comes out in the Redeem D's Nuts t-shirt, which is awesome. So then after the match on Twitter, Miro tweeted, "Your nuts have been redeemed." And then Lana chimes in, "And I will redeem yours once you get home." The greatest. Oh, just love that shit. For as dumb as it is, Miro got the dick kick and, got the win. Jericho and MJF. What do you think, Joe? I mean, it was if Jericho lost, he was done. And with the Fozzy tour coming, I thought maybe he was going to lose, but he ended up getting the win. What'd you think of that match?
I love the countdown to the end of Jericho's career to start the match off. Because you thought is Jericho going to play off the, nope, MJF just being a jerk. It was a decent match. A lot of drama to it. The, Wardlow and Hager coming out just so the refs could be there. I thought that was like a good story to tell as well, because if the refs weren't out there, you never see a match restart because the ref missed a foot on the rope. But since an outside referee was there breaking up the other guys, it made sense for it to happen. And of course, MGF is saying that it was all, everyone's against him.
Mm-hmm.
It was a decent match. It was what it was supposed to be. I really thought Jericho was going to win. I didn't think he was ready to, especially as hot as AEW is now. Do you really think that a guy like Jericho is just going to stop wrestling on the show with the most buzz to just do?
Oh, the only reason is because of the Fozzy tour. I mean, hell, this is coming out.
He's still going on a break.
Yeah, I know. He did like 3 shows in Chicago last week. I'm going to see them Sunday, 2 nights from now, if you're listening to this on Friday. Like, the tour is coming. Kevin, you're going. Brian, you were going to go, but you can't go now. But like, I thought there was a real chance he could have left and he could have lost and, went from there. But I'm glad he didn't. I just didn't want them to have, I didn't want the inner circle to not be a thing, because you can't have the inner circle without Jericho.
Yeah. Right. There is one thing I wish they would have done. I wish they would have had the choir instead of the lead guitar.
The guitarist. Yeah, that did not go well.
Bad. It didn't work.
What happened with that? That's your guitarist.
Well, the crowd didn't know where to start. They didn't know where to so there was this great idea, poor execution. Yeah. I think that's what it boils down to. The first debut, the Joker in the Casino Battle Royale, was Ruby Soho, FKA Ruby Riott. Of course, she won, and I'm excited to see it. Now, a lot of people don't know that Ruby was instrumental early in Britt Baker's career in the Pittsburgh indie scene. So that's what she said that on Dynamite 2 nights ago. It is true. It's not just like a manufactured storyline. So I thought it was cool. They got the music. She looks great. She looks the part, and it was a great match. I thought we were going to get Andrade and somebody. That didn't happen. I'm just trying to think of some of the other matches, because as we talked about earlier in our group text, this is the least prepared I've ever been for a podcast. Getting back,
Britt and Statlander.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
It's fine.
Britt's not going to lose. Not going to lose just yet.
It was okay.
It went too long.
It was fine.
Too long, you think?
I think it went too long. I think they could have cut about 5 minutes out of it, but it was fine.
So it's like the Red Velvet match from the first Rampage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before we get to the main event, any other things from All Out that you guys can think of?
I just remember
QT Marshall and Paul White.
I mean, it was the most anticipated match in the history of AEW. So,
well, I got to say they placed it in the right spot, and it was the right amount of length. So,
it was the former.
I wasn't offended by it.
Well, it was before the main event. It was the piss break match. It's what the Divas matches used to be for WWE. So, and honestly, I don't even know who won. I don't even remember anything about it. I think that's when I went to put sweats on, grab a cookie, and be on my way. But
Paul
I guess
White won.
Paul White did win. Okay, cool.
You'll be shocked to learn. Yes.
Wow. So the main event, Christian Cage and Kenny Omega for the Impact World Heavyweight title. Now,
AEW title.
What did I say?
Impact.
You said Impact.
Whatever. Well, I guess okay. The match was okay, but nobody's talking about the match.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the beatdown of Christian Cage, which then led to the music of the one debuting Adam Cole, who I have wanted for weeks, and I pretty much got it completely right. The only thing I had said originally was that Kenny was going to lose, go unhinged, and then Adam was going to come save the day. But Adam Cole comes up. They don't know who he's with. What side is he on? If the brain was still here, join the Elite. And that was that got me out of my seat. I literally, you guys can all. We should have just been running like a camera just from the whole night, just to show for the lesson learned for the next time in 2 years.
Brian did not get out of his seat though. We did, but Brian stayed sitting down, lazy.
Yeah, the watermelon
standing in my
top.
mind. Yes.
Yeah, watermelon.
How long Brian was still sitting down.
And then And then Bryan Danielson made his debut.
Yeah.
Now that we had talked, I thought maybe they would just do one at a time, save Bryan Danielson for the Arthur Ashe show, the stadium that's coming up in a couple weeks. No. Kevin, what'd you think? I mean, you can go with Adam Cole, you can go with Danielson, you can go either way. First of all, who made the debut last? Who debuted last? Who came out after Adam Cole?
Bryan Danielson.
Nicely done.
Just checking.
Yeah. And you can get his nice new solid white t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com.
It's actually at whatamaneuver.net, but whatever.
Yeah.
Because Sunday night you kept calling him Bryan Danielson.
Yeah,
Daniel Bryanson.
Daniel Bryanson. It's just one of those weird things that go in your mind. One thing I'll touch base on, which surprise I liked more. I really enjoyed both of their music. When Adam Cole came out, I like this band Fever 333. They're kind of a little bit more raspier than Zach De La Rocha from Rage, but it was like, it's all about that boom. And it's just like, then it kind of sounded like.
Oh, was that them? I thought that was
it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't either. But I mean, it kind of sounded like the lead singer of Fever 333.
Well, that's their music guy, Mikey Ruckus, that did. I think Ruckus was the one that sang the Lucha Bros out, and he's their Jim Johnson. So yeah,
but I've listened to Adam Cole's new music at least 20 times on YouTube, just nonstop when I was working out earlier. Like, love it. And then Bryan Danielson.
Oh, you brought it back.
When Play the Valkyrie came out, and then kind of the remix, kind of, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And then he comes out. I liked Adam Cole. I liked them both amazing, right? And if I had to side, I got extreme goosebumps when Cole came out, but
full blown erection when Bryan Danielson came out.
I saw it.
I saw it.
Just he looked.
I saw it.
They both looked so happy.
Visual confirmation.
But Bryan Danielson just looked just like a kid in a candy store. Like it was just amazing. And honestly, when he stood up to him and then he did his running knee, like it got me more excited to be like, okay, we're going to see some freaking good matchups. It actually made that pay-per-view, both of them debuting at the end of the main event match. That's what put that pay-per-view into like one of the best of all time.
And the best thing for me was he's not doing the yes. The idiot fans will. He is not doing it, and we'll get into that in a second. Brian, what did you think of the debuts?
Well, it was Adam Cole more for me because that was still just is he gonna stay? Is he gonna go? I hadn't heard any rumors online about he's in Chicago. We saw him, anything like that. So that one was the big one to me because Bryan Danielson has been old JR. Yeah.
Come on, JR.
But yeah, he's been rumored to be coming. So wasn't a shock in that sense, but I do agree with
as was Kevin when
yeah. But no, that was great. I definitely was like, wow, this is really happening. And it needed it, guys, because at least for me, but I thought for much of the crowd in the arena, they weren't really into Christian versus Omega. I think they had hit that lull of just
we saw it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, seen it 2 weeks
ago.
And
Christian won. We knew Christian wasn't going to win again.
Exactly. Knew Omega's going to win. It was a good match. It was very good, but it just wasn't getting. If you want to keep building and building to your main event, I felt like it was going to fall short. And like Kevin said, having the two surprise debuts, within minutes of each other is what you're going to remember. That's what's going to be the biggest takeaway from this show. I completely agree with all of that. And it made an amazing buzz and perfect cap on the night.
Joe, thoughts?
Well, after hearing Kevin's explanation of what he thought of it, it totally makes sense why he was passed out completely for the car ride home, because he was exhausted from all that. But
Yeah.
I gotta say,
He
Adam
needed a
Cole,
nap.
He needed
Yeah.
a nap. He was just like, oh, so no.
Baby.
I don't know why he kept
Oh,
asking for
Adam
a towel
Cole,
in
baby.
Joe's car. Just kidding.
But
So
I thought Adam Cole's was a bigger surprise because we knew Bryan Danielson was going to be joining sooner rather than later,
right.
Especially when CM Punk said, "Be patient, everyone."
Right.
And I love the fact that he never put his arms up; he just put them out when he came out. So I don't think he's going to embrace the yes movement here, but he's not going to tell them to stop doing it.
Well, if you go to AEW's YouTube channel, there was a 2-hour media scrum that happened after the event. And someone had asked him about the yes. And he said, well, if you're going to do it, that's fine. But I'm not working there anymore. It was about intellectual property and stuff. But the 2-hour media scrum was a good watch, too. It was Punk, Ruby, Lucha Bros, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson. And the fun thing about it for me, I used to watch Total Divas when he was on, and Total Divas Bryan Danielson is what we're getting in AEW. He talked about how CM Punk wants to work with the young kids and I want to kick their fucking head off, and he said the F word several times, and he was like, am I allowed to say that here? And it was a great media scrum. And of course, since Sunday, a report. Now, I had read what the offer was for Adam Cole to stay in WWE, going to the main roster. And I had heard half of the story that Meltzer reported today, was that the pitch was for Adam Cole to be Keith Lee's manager on the main roster. No wonder he left. One of the best talents in the world. And they thought it would be very similar to Leo Rush and Bobby Lashley a couple years ago. Holy shit.
And don't forget about the part where they said he'll have to change his name because of Michael Cole. And they didn't want to have two Coles.
Wait, did it say that?
That's what I read. Absolutely.
Oh, I missed that. Well, they could have just said that Adam Cole was Michael Cole's son.
They like, somebody was making the joke, was like, they're going to call him like, Panama Jack or whatever, the Panama Sunset or something like that.
Panama City Jack. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I'll see if I can find that
part
again. Maybe in the story
it could have been like, when Jerry Lawler and Grandmaster Sexay, that was Lawler's kid, legitimately. They had a storyline written right there. I didn't know that though about the name.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I read that.
He would have been called AC Baby. That would have been the I'm just making that up. I'm making that one up.
I'll say this.
Who would want him to stay for that?
It would have been absolutely amazing for Keith Lee, because then he would have been extremely. He would have been way more interesting.
He would not have to talk like a robot. He would have someone to talk for him.
He would have made Keith Lee less boring, I'll say.
Yeah, but then Adam Cole would have become a waste.
And then then Adam Cole would just have to become an absolute waste. How much was the offer in dollars?
I heard $1 million. I had read originally $1 million. That was just the manager thing. I didn't know anything about the Keith Lee thing, so I don't know if one is predicated on the other or not. So, wow. Change the name?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I found the quote from Meltzer. He put, quote, "It was noted that Cole would probably have been given a different name so that there weren't two Coles, with Michael Cole also being on the main roster."
Good thing AEW doesn't do that. Cage.
There's so many
Page.
So many cages.
Page.
And they did now. Wow.
Yeah. You see that and you go, yep. I totally get it. Go with your friends, have fun, kick ass. And that's the whole disconnect that so many fans have with NXT and the main roster, and just how much is a waste in so many cases.
And then another story came out that Kevin Owens' contract is apparently up sooner than later. He has ties to Cole and the Bucks. They had a faction in PWG called Mount Rushmore, and he probably, I have a feeling that he signed that extension when they were just signing everybody to keep them from AEW. And now odds are he's going to let it play out.
But they restructured the extension when they released everyone in 2020, and it went from April to January.
Oh,
so like
okay.
They took some months off. What I read, they took some months off of the extension when they were trying to save money from the April 2020 releases. And the amount, and I don't know if anyone saw it, but he had a tweet that was quickly deleted when he did the map coordinates of Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. I
think he's trolling on that one, obviously.
I love Kevin Owens. Ever since Kevin Steen on the Indies, and I picked up a bunch of his DVDs from the Indies and the stuff he did in Ring of Honor with Generico and the ladder. Oh, love Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, and they haven't really used him great recently. What he was trying to fix Baron Corbin. I couldn't even tell you what he's doing, right now. So if we had the bet right now, does he go or does he stay, Brian?
I'm going to say the momentum leans for go. Adam Cole was one that I really thought was like a toss-up of like, you've been treated so well at NXT and positioned so great that while you have so many ties to AEW, I get staying. And Kevin's been treated pretty well. He's been champion. He's had big feuds, but he's never been positioned really as the guy, at least for not that long. I think he might go too. I absolutely see it.
Joe, does he go or does he stay?
He goes.
Kevin?
He gone.
He gone.
I want to say yes, he's going to go, but part of me feels like there is some loyalty to Vince McMahon that is going to keep him there. Maybe just like a 2-year deal. But at this rate, who knows, we're probably a few weeks away from Bray Wyatt's 90 days coming up. Is Bray Wyatt going to show up in AEW? Who else is going to go to AEW? And then, of course, next Tuesday is the debut of the new vision of NXT. A lot of people are shitting all over. I thought the logo just had a Nickelodeon feel to it. So we'll just have to see what happens to NXT next week before we start judging. And of course, next week we will definitely be talking about that new NXT. But real quick, we're going to take a quick break. One of the things we did in Brian's Parts Unknown, we filmed some commercials for our What a Maneuver merch store. And if you're watching on YouTube, enjoy the visual spectacular that is about to come your way. And if you're listening to the podcast and you want to see the video, go to our YouTube channel or social media at thatwrestlepod and check this out.
I don't know if you know, That Wrestling Podcast has a store on whatamaneuver.net. And we've got it all. We've got t-shirts. We got the logo t-shirt. Oh, wait, what's this? We got the Bruise Next t-shirt. You can get it there. Whatamaneuver.net. Search at That Wrestling Pod. We've got t-shirts. We've got hoodies. Give me a hoodie. We got a hoodie right here. We got the logo hoodie. We got That Wrestling Podcast hoodie. We've got Bruise Next hoodie. And if you go to the store right now, hey, can we get that logo in right now? The TWP Hollywood logo is available right now at whatamaneuver.net. But that's not it. We got more. Give me this one. What's this? What we got here? We got a Bruise Next tank top. We got the That Wrestling Podcast tank top. We got the Hollywood tank top. We've got onesies for men, women, children. No, because that's kind of weird if adults are wearing onesies. But for kids, infants, men, women, children, we got it all. Whatamaneuver.net. That Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, we've had the merch store for a few months now, and, we've got some great shirts. What a Maneuver is one of those companies that they support the independent artist, whether you're a wrestler, you're a band, you're a podcaster like us. It doesn't cost anything to host your store there. It's just the fee to get your design up on their website. Whatamaneuver.net. Michael, the guy that runs it, has been awesome. And you can go there and check out our shirts, including the brand new TWP Hollywood that, I don't know. Somebody says it looks like an NWO shirt, but I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. But the commercials. So, Brian, you and I have been kind of brainstorming some stuff in recent weeks. You were the mastermind of all the commercials. Let's since we started doing the podcast, you've been playing around with some video stuff, trying to teach yourself, like we all have. What was your motivation?
Yeah, well, we really wanted to try to create something that was reenacting those original NWO t-shirt commercials that had the beginning of the following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. Just, perfect of the gimmick at the time of these are the outsiders and they're not WCW contracted wrestlers. So we have something like that we're going to do. It's going to have a look visually that's going to look similar to kind of how those commercials were. And then we put our own spin on it. We didn't want it just to, be word for word how those commercials were. So we got some funny little things that are going to tap into how each of us have kind of appeared on the show. So without giving too much away, stay tuned. They're coming. We had a lot of fun with it. A real good time.
And that one that you just saw or heard was something I had thought about after, I was watching late night TV and there was some old Crazy Eddie's discount stereo commercial where everything's gotta go. That and Don West, when he would do the Impact stuff, he'd be standing there, they would just be throwing shirts. It was kind of that idea. Looking at it again, I probably should have scripted something out. That was literally just off the top of my head. And there were parts you could tell I didn't know what I was saying. So
we don't have onesies for men and women.
Well, no, we don't, because that's weird. But just saying it. Yeah. But some of the other ones, those will be coming in the next couple weeks. So enjoy that. And go to @thatwrestlepod, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and check out the commercials and whatamaneuver.net to pick up a shirt. We've got, our logo tee, we've got the Bruise Next tee, and we also have the new TWP Hollywood shirt available right now. As we said earlier, this is more of just a weekend at Brian's kind of podcast, talking about just some of the stuff we did. And we weren't going to do a 5 count, but Brian from the medical facility, I don't know if this was medically induced or, thought of because of his meds.
Yeah.
Got a great idea for this week's 5 count.
That Wrestling Podcast presents the 5 count.
So this week's 5 count is the top 5 favorite things we experienced this weekend. And I will go first. I'm going to go first this time. So number 5 was something that I was the only person to see. And it's going to sound kind of snappy, but Brian and I have been friends for over 20 years now. And this is the first time I've seen Brian as a dad. Monday morning, you guys had left Sunday night. Monday morning, Brian's cooking breakfast and hanging out with his daughters. And he was nice enough to get, a Burger King sandwich for breakfast, a donut. But just seeing Brian be dad, singing songs about dinosaurs and, just some of those kid things that and I even said to you, Brian, I'm like, wow, was it 20 years ago when you were thrown up in a studio garbage can? Who'd have thought we'd get here?
Don't kill my rep, bro.
Yeah. So Brian being a dad was definitely number 5 for me. Number 4 had to be Adam Cole. I know I jumped out of my seat and was so excited because for how many weeks have I been saying this is what I want to see? And I finally got it. And there was and it was better because it was a surprise. My point taken 1,000,000%, because the Bryan Danielson thing, we knew it was coming. We just didn't know it was coming that night. Number 3, Ruby Soho, a great debut. The music, Tony Khan wants to just write those checks to get those music rights. But I think it would be very smart in around Christmas time, they put out the first AEW The Music. Jungle Boy, they licensed Judas. Now they got Ruby Soho, CM Punk, throw in some of the originals from Mikey Ruckus. And the AEW fans would buy them. Put on vinyl, I'll buy it for sure. Number 2, the Uber, I'm saying Uber in finger quotes, So Brian lives in Kevin's hometown where Kevin grew up. Kevin's family still lives there. And we went to the brewery and Kevin's like, wait, I think my sister's in town. So Kevin called his sister to drive us around because we didn't want to have to pay for Ubers. And of course, as we said earlier, all the breweries were closed except the one we were at. So we were like, just come back in an hour. She came back. Kev, your sister was just awesome.
Yeah.
So I want her and your niece, hopefully we didn't corrupt, bringing your niece to a bar on a Sunday afternoon, not sure how that goes in the world of parenting, but hanging out, your sister doing it, that was cool. Number two. Number one, honestly, another sappy moment. And, I'm normally not so sappy, but it was just being around you guys. Like I've got friends that I've been around out, where I live, but we've been doing this for a year and a half on Zoom. The first time being in one spot, man, whether it's at the bar, the house, whatever, man, it was awesome. Those are my 5 favorite things from the weekend. And we'll go to you, Kevin. We'll see what you got next.
I starting off number 5, I put experiencing Macho Man Shandy Savage for the first time and a collection of beers from Baffin. Joe and I started off with a flight and went to the Shandy. Then I think I had a Nitro Porter and I had a Mickey Redmond, in there, a red ale, and I left and I was buzzing. So it was a great time. Baffin Brewing Company. Number 4, surprises, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, just both of them. I kind of touched base on how I thought it was awesome how they both came after the main event. So it was still part of the show, but it didn't affect any of the matches. What I really enjoyed, that was my number 4. Number 3, another part of the pay-per-view, CM Punk match. I didn't really talk about it much during the show. I really, really enjoyed it. The crowd was absolutely hot. I was looking forward to it. Ever since he joined AEW, I really wanted to see his match. I wanted to see everything about him. It's on my list whenever I buy the Britt Baker shirt. I'm probably going to buy the new CM Punk shirt. I did not order it because the ringer shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, there's like a shortage of ringer shirts. So, and I just didn't want the solid white shirt. It looked like it would be like purchased from like Five Below or something. So I'm keeping my eye out on when
you better not let your kid hear you diss Five Below.
Oh, I know.
Brett loves Five Below.
He's gonna bust through that door in a second.
What'd you say about Five Below?
Number 2, Jay, you're a smart man because my number 2 is the same. I felt like my sister was Trent's mom from the best friend, picking us up in the minivan, and
nice.
It was cool. And then the next day, I get a call. I'm at home now in my parts unknown of the Midwest. My mom calls. She's like, "Oh, I hear you're back in home, our home city. When are you going to come visit your mom?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not there anymore. My bad. I should have been like, new phone. Who dis?"
Yeah. Meltzer is reporting that Kevin's mom was going to change his name if he showed up at the house, so he decided to ditch him.
Funny.
And then number 1, I not to sound sappy like you, Jay, but I just put hospitality. Brian, I marked down a few notes. I just put awesome food. I ate your whole bag of Cool Ranch Dorito chips. Sorry about that.
Harper's pissed.
Yeah, Harper did have a thing about that. Yeah.
And then
I ate my chips.
I did spend the night, in Joe's parts unknown. And we started the day there. Within 5 minutes, me and him had a glass of bourbon, Eagle Rare, delicious bourbon. Never had it before. Heard of it. Never had it before. And then when we got back, I was like, are we going to have a nightcap? Because we said we were going to have some of the Sinatra.
The Jack. Nice.
So I've never had it. And he showed me the bottle. I was like, "Oh, you have it open." And I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, maybe I'm not going to ask for it. Right. But I was like, but if he offers a little bit, I'll definitely have some. So we pull up into Joe's, I think driveway, like, I don't know, not too late, but 1 o'clock in the morning or something.
It was when you finally woke up.
Yeah. It was when I woke up. And Joe's like, "Well, we're not going to bed." And I was like, thinking in my mind, I'm like, okay, perfect. I can finally have some of the Sinatra JD. And that shit is awesome. I understand why it's $200 for the 175. Like, it is so
It's worth it.
smooth.
It's
It's
worth
so
it.
smooth. And I told Joe, I'm just like, I expected, I've never had a Cabo Wabo was the first alcohol, the tequila from Sammy Hagar that I've taken that didn't like have like an aftertaste, or not an aftertaste, but like it tasted so smooth. This ranks best overall smoothness of an alcohol I've ever had. It was amazing. And that in itself, and Brian's on his end, hospitality #1.
I've had my Sinatra Jack, and I've opened it. I've only had it a couple times in a couple years because it's a big bottle and it'll last me forever. So, Brian, what do you got next?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that Cabo Wabo, because I'm again looking at Meltzer, and he just tweeted that since Bray Wyatt is out of a job, he's coming up with his new tequila. It's called Yowie Wowie. So make sure you look for that on your store shelves real soon. Sorry, jokes are funny. All right, okay, let me get my notes here. Oh, there's the wrong button. All right, there's the right button. Okay, so my number 5 was the commercial shoot. So this came together really nicely, and kind of how we planned out the day. My initial thought was, we're going to get there, we'll hang out for a minute, and then we'll start that. And as the day went on, it was like, no, let's go to the bar first, then we'll maybe have some drinks in us and make it even more hilarious. And that turned out to be,
that was my idea.
That turned out to be the right move. I gotta say though, like, because we got home, everybody was kind of settling in. I was doing my final, lookovers of the pork and everything, and I kind of had to go like, guys, we got to do this. Like, it's gonna get dark, and like, thankfully, it all came together really nice and quickly. And I think everybody was gonna have a good little chuckle when we get those out. My number 4 is my ankle injury, but not the injury itself, but a specific funny moment at the bar. So not directly related, but I had another bug bite kind of just in the middle of my calf that I gave a scratch to, and it just immediately started bleeding. I'm like, oh, God damn it. What the hell? So I got like my little napkin out, and I'm like trying to, get the blood. It's like a paper cut where it's bleeding way too much for being like this little itty bitty thing. And,
Hard way.
And Jason looks, he's like, dude, what the fuck? Are you okay? And it was like, don't you get that HIV on me, man. and Kevin starts laughing. He's like, well, Magic Johnson over here.
Wow.
And I had a line that cracked Kevin up. I go, where's Cookie?
I may or may not have spit up some of the
Was
beer.
I at the bar at this time? I don't remember this.
I don't know.
You might not have been. Maybe you were getting a drink. I don't know.
I don't remember this conversation.
Yeah.
I would have went like, oh.
But then I start singing the "You Got AIDS" song from Family Guy, which none of you got because you're all Simpsons guys. So
no, I would have got that. I would have sang along with it. So I definitely was not there.
Family Guy, the "You Got AIDS." You got
Not
the AIDS,
HIV,
but full blown AIDS.
Yeah.
So that's number 4.
Hilarity ensues.
Don't get your HIV on me.
Yeah, hilarity ensues with injuries.
T-shirt coming to What a Maneuver.
My number 3 is the Adam Cole moment. I think we've covered that all. It was that was a great moment that you didn't really see coming, and really was well done. My number 2 is what both of you guys have said too, getting the rides. First off, shout out to Jason's wife. She gave us a ride to the bar, and that was very, very nice and accommodating. I had already removed the car seats from my car, thinking I was going to have to haul you guys around. So that turned out to be unnecessary. And yeah, Kevin, like when we got everything in motion for your sister to come, and you kind of gave us the breakdown of like, guys, you know how I'm smiley? She's 10 times as smiley. And that's exactly what the case was. She was so happy to be there, and like so like excited to be chatting with all of us. And that was great. And it saved us money too. So even better. And then my number 1 is hosting you guys. I'm just so appreciative of all of you guys coming all so far to my place. And it was just so funny how it turned out that now people don't know this, but when we went to Revolution in Chicago in February of 2020, like 2 weeks before the pandemic, I nearly didn't go because in the middle of the night of that Friday, I got food poison. I got a stomach flu. It had been going around in my family, my girls, and at like 1, 2 in the morning, I ended up going to the bathroom and like passing out on the floor. And it was like, what the hell? But I was able to recover enough, thankfully, that I could get over to Joe's, and we made the trip to Chicago. So fast forward now, here we go. I end up with this
thanks,
ankle.
Brian, for that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I passed it on to Joe, and Joe, ever the gentleman, the next day when he's like, anybody else feeling sick? And we were like, oh, we're okay. And he said he'd been throwing up. And I said, well, you got that from me. Okay. Don't be nice and say, yeah, who knows where I got it from? No, you got it from me, because that's what happened. But so you fast forward now, a year and a half later, and what happens that Saturday, the day before the show, my ankle blows up. My wife's texting UJ to be like, he needs to go to the emergency room. Don't come, ruin everything. But I powered through. I was happy to do it. And we have dubbed apparently that there's a curse or some sort where me and going to AEW events, us gathering for AEW events, something fishy happens beforehand. So we've labeled my exact condition with my ankle as Khan's disease. So we powered through though. Yeah. Oh, a little note on that. The hospital that I was at did not have USA, so I couldn't even watch NXT. That's another side effect of Khan's disease.
Khan's disease.
You don't even want you watching NXT to begin with, or Raw if I was there on Monday. But no, I'm so glad. I'm thankful you guys came. I'm glad you enjoyed the food. The night was great. So glad it all went down. So that's my number one.
Yeah, next time, whether it's Kev, wherever. I mean, I would love for you guys to come out, but I'm the furthest away. But we do a 3 or 4 day weekend out here, man, revolving around a wrestling show that's not WrestleMania, which will be coming in 2 years. But that's besides the point. Maybe I just kind of gave it away where I live.
Just
but anyway,
as a heads up, my sister won't be able to drop us back off at your house.
but my wife will be here. So
that's a hell of an Uber
that
rate.
is true. That is true.
All right,
I don't
Joe.
know how the cookies are going to travel, but we'll find out.
Not Magic Johnson's cookie.
All right.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. My 5 count is basically each one is an individual. So I'll start with mine first. Number 5, bourbon with Kevin. Like drinking before, like having an Eagle Rare beforehand, just one glass, because it's a new one for me. It's really hyped. I think Rabbit Hole is better if you've ever had that, but it's very similar. Yeah, that's the name of the bourbon. I didn't name it. But then coming back home, of course, Kevin, here's the thing. Not a lot of whiskey drinkers around me in this parts of unknown. So I love sharing the Sinatra Jack. That's why I always have 2 of them, one that's open and one ready as a backup. I know it's like, but sometimes it's like Brian says, sometimes you got to just pay for the good beer. I'm in the mindset of you got to pay for good whiskey.
Yep.
So.
You need to go check the box. I actually took the half open bottle with me.
Oh, nice. Well, then
You put like a shoe in there now to equal out the weight.
There wasn't much left. And I almost like recommended, I'm like, hey, let's have one more, because I had the Golden Jack too, the maple oak one, new one as well. I just bought that. But Kevin was so done for the night at that point that I don't think he could have handled one more. So that's my number 5, is one that focuses on me. Number 4, I call this one Wrestle Dad, and that goes to Jason. I don't know if you remember this, Jason, but it cracked me up. Brian's youngest daughter, like, hit his oldest daughter, like, a little bit on the knee. And then the oldest one, Harper, just started crying. Jason's response to that was, yeah, nice sell job, Harper. I'm like, that's such a wrestling term that only Jason can pull off. So,
That's awesome.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, because like she barely hit her, but then Harper just starts screaming and going, "She hit me!" And your response was, "Nice sell job." That's all. Like, yep. I
didn't know that one.
That's Jason as a dad. Well, because you were taking care of it, to going like, "Oh, you're fine, honey," but Jason's like calling her out for a bad sell job.
Botchamania, Harper. Whatever.
Number 3 would be, it only makes sense if it's Kevin saying it. Calling your sister and the first thing you say is, "Hey, girl." It only makes sense if you know Kevin. Like I have a sister. I would never call her up going, "Hey, girl." No,
I don't have a sister, and I would never call someone and say, "Hey, girl."
you said it numerous times.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And to your niece.
and to your niece, it makes
Yeah,
sense though. If you know
And she's
Kevin,
what, 12?
you don't question it.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
was-
okay. I was drunk.
Number two.
No. Hold on. No. That's not when you're drunk, because you said it to my wife when we were in Vegas 2 weeks ago, and
I'm
you
sure
weren't
he
drunk.
was
drunk the entire
there.
time.
Well,
Nah, not
say
the
it when I
entire
am,
time.
And I
Okay.
sober or drunk.
Hey, girl, it is.
Hey, girl.
T-
Hey girl.
T-shirt
girl.
coming to whatamaneuver.net.
Kevin says, "Hey girl." Number two is Brian. Brian the writer. Brian the host. Brian's scripts. I'm like, wow. We all have like 2 words or 3 lines, so he has a lot of basically, yeah. He's just thinking like, I don't think
Choppy
these guys
edits.
are actors, and we are not. So it
Keep
all
it
worked
simple.
out. Of course, we were all basically going, what's my motivation? I'm going back to my trailer, trying to be divas during the whole
Right.
thing. But Brian did a great job with that. And the pulled pork, perfect. I thought you also had the variety of different barbecue sauces to put on there.
Yeah.
I chose the spicy because I like the hot barbecue sauce.
Nice.
And with a spoonful of the coleslaw on top of it to even it out. So
Yeah. I love that.
my sandwiches were all that, like spicy, but with a little bit of cool in the middle. So Brian, great job, especially doing it on one leg.
Yeah. The one-legged chef over here.
The one-legged chef. And number one was
I'm
we
the
were all together.
Zach Gowen of the cooking world.
Yes. Number one
Who
was
gets that
basically
reference? Wow.
we were all together. I know, Jason, I'm stealing yours, but number one, we were all together and actually watched a good pay-per-view too.
Yeah.
Even the bad matches were good.
What were the bad matches, Joe?
The bad matches were Paul White, QT Marshall.
Nobody watched it.
No, well, I did, but it was only
No.
like 3.5 minutes long. And I thought the Battle Royal was average at best, but Ruby Soho was
It's
a
a
big
good
moment.
moment.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
her face made the whole thing. But unfortunately, I have to give a down with the fact that I had that Ranson song
my
in my
God.
head all day the next day.
All
Still
the
do.
time.
Still
Yeah.
do now.
It's a great song. I'm not mad at it, but all the time now. Yep.
Yeah. And Kevin, you still have to buy the Britt Baker shirt because you said, "Oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll let you hit purchase on my phone at the pay-per-view," and you did not. And normally at this point we would play the sounder for you to tell us your 5 count, but you weren't with us, so we're not doing that. Don't forget to follow the show on social media at thatwrestlepod. Again, whatamaneuver.net to pick up all the shirts, including the new Hollywood shirt. Great hang over the weekend, guys. Great hang right now on the podcast. Thanks to Dangerous Darren for the voiceover. We are Wasted for the entrance music. You for listening, and we will talk to you next week on That Wrestling Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Follow That WrestlePod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
1, 2, 3.